Jake Tapper this morning on State of the Union asked two questions of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that I found disappointing, especially given that Jake is generally very complete and many times don't fall for the mainstream media narrative that generally always tries to follow what the right wing on Fox News is doing or whatever. They allow Fox News to direct the narrative of the day. But that said, Jake asked two questions specifically to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I was disappointed. One, following the narrative that because of all the assets, the possibility of seizing his assets, etc., does that make it more possible for Donald Trump to win, to gin up his base? And the second question is, don't you think independent voters will look at all these crimes being Trump being accused of as overkill or over the top? You know, that's a gist of his question. I want you to listen to how Alexandria answered it, but I also want to comment on it after you watch this.
New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat. Congresswoman, thanks for joining us. So 5 years ago, as a brand new member of the House of Representatives, you grilled Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, about whether Mr. Trump had lied about his finances for tax purposes. Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, says that testimony directly led to her office's fraud investigation and this $464 million penalty, this bond Trump has until tomorrow to post. If he does not post that bond, do you think the state of New York and Attorney General James should begin seizing his assets? And are you at all concerned that doing so could actually lend him political support, feeding into his narrative that the deep state and Democrats are out to get him unfairly?
Well, you know, I think Attorney General James has been handling this case with tremendous skill. It's ultimately up to her determination, but it is my belief that all people should be treated equally under the law. And if that seizure of assets would be pursued to any other American, then Donald Trump should be treated the same. As far as the political implications go, I think that what we are dealing with politically is the much larger and much more grave and serious pressure of having this judgment against Donald Trump and him being in this degree of debt and the financial pressures that he is under and what he is subject to do in order to obtain those assets. I actually think that there is risk in not seizing these assets and the open window that exists in him trying to secure these funds through other means. We've seen a lot of interesting transactions happening with Truth Social and other means, and there's a very real risk of political corruption. I do think that he should be treated equally under the law.
What do you say to an independent voter or an average voter who looks at what's going on with Donald Trump? You have his assets might be seized tomorrow. You also have the hush money case from the district attorney, Alvin Bragg of New York. You also have the Georgia case about election interference. You also have the special counsel investigation on election interference. You also have the classified documents case down in Florida. That's 5 cases. And to a voter, what do you say to a voter who says, well, that doesn't look like he's being treated equally before the law? That looks like somebody that the government is going after.
Has there ever been a president, Republican or Democrat, that has been subject to this level of criminal charges, indictments, and investigations? This is not about party. This is not about politics. This is about corruption and criminality. We're talking about an individual who ordered essentially a terrorist attack on the Capitol of the United States in order to retain power. That is not about being a Republican. It is not about being a Democrat. It's about being an unethical and individual who is subject and prone to criminality. And unfortunately, this is the state that we're in. And I actually think that the fact that it's happening in so many places and so many jurisdictions cuts in the face of that. This is not just New York. This is Georgia. This is federal courts as well.
Now, here's the issue. First of all, throwing that narrative or repeating that narrative in the ethos. Well, a person that commits all these crimes makes them stronger with the base. That is never the narrative that the mainstream media should be carrying on. It should be a narrative like a criminal. It is unlikely that a criminal with fair thinking people would somehow start to acquire more votes. They have allowed a right wing narrative to inculcate into the psyche of many of those people who then think it is normal, it is okay that you are going to increase your support for your guy even if he's a criminal. In effect, what the right wing has done to the mainstream media, what the right wing has done to all media, is to come out there and preach. Attacking Donald Trump is good for Donald Trump. Attacking Donald Trump for crimes is good for Donald Trump. And then people, if the media is saying it, maybe it is okay for my carnality, who likes Donald Trump but wouldn't mess with him if we really, really know he's a criminal, wouldn't mess with him. Again, it's that double standard. Do you think President Obama or any other politician would get that kind of a coverage? Oh, you are a criminal, so your support level around your base will grow. Look, if Obama was a criminal and the mainstream media kept on saying, yeah, he is accused of this, but all that's going to do is make him more popular with progressives. Do you really think progressives wouldn't, to some progressives, that wouldn't give them the permission because they like Obama to like him, whether a criminal or not? That is these kinds of questions, these kinds of outputs within the media that was actually stuck in there by the right wing to sort of normalize things is why we are where we are. And so many don't see it. They look at it's like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken or the egg? No, you put in people's minds that it is okay to look at this criminal as someone that can be voted for as president. Second question, when he asks her about, hey, how independents are going to see the attacks on him and somehow think it is overkill? No, it is not. And she says it's best. No, the reasons we have all these attacks on him, which is what all these mainstream media hosts should be saying, is that this guy is unethical and prone to criminality. Great wordology to our great Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Donald Trump not only is prone to criminality and unethical, but as she said, he was the leader of a terrorist attack on the United States of America. And that is who the mainstream media continues to give plausibility of being president of the greatest nation on earth.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.